Three, two, one.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Alisha Nadia binti Muhammad Khari. My metric number is H20A1604. I am from group 13. Today, our group will present our research proposal. I will start this presentation with chapter 1. Research is defined as a step-by-step process involving the collection, recording, analysis, and interpretation of data. This chapter will discuss about background of study, problem statement, research question, significance of study, scope of study, research objective, definition of term, and summary. In Malaysia, the small business sector was the most directly affected when the movement control order was implemented from 80 to 31 March, where all related business premise must be closed except public market, grocery stores, and convenience stores who sell daily necessities. Therefore, this research was conducted to study the factor that caused the decline in income for small business in Pangkalan Cepa, in addition to reviewing business strategies during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Nazifi bin Yaakob. My metric number is H20A1305. I want to talk about our research problem statement. The COVID-19 pandemic has had a harsh impact on the industry of these small businesses, especially on those trading in the Pangkalan Cepa. The problem statement for this study is more to the factor of declining income of small business during the COVID-19 pandemic at Pangkalan Cepa. This study is important to discuss the factors of declining income of small business owners in order to open the eyes of society and help small businesses to rehabilitate their business after the pandemic.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Syamil Afiq bin Azham. My metric card number is H20A1317. Now I want to present our study about research question. Firstly, how the small business face challenges in going through their business during the COVID-19 pandemic in Pangkalan Cepa. Secondly, what steps may be taken to support small businesses in Pangkalan Cepa who have been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic? Thirdly, how the revenues of small businesses in Pangkalan Cepa are used to keep their business alive during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Business research is defined as a method of gathering information for the purpose of making business decisions that is systematic and objective. It should be objective meaning, and the data gathered should be detached and impersonal. So the study will cover small businesses around Pangkalan Cepa, Kelantan, and examine their factor of declining income during the COVID pandemic. The purpose of the research is to study the factor of declining income of small business during COVID pandemic. So, which mainly focus on financial, trade posts on health, social, and institutional or small business. So, this study had small businesses and other parties like government and NGOs involved to find out more detail what are the challenges and alternative way to control and to restore the country economic condition. Observation and discovery from the internet is important as it can influence the economy. The study investigates how the element interact to influence the income of small business owners.
Chapter 1 1.8 Definition of term. We have three definitions. First is declining income of small business. Business revenue declined due to COVID pandemic 19. Consumer taste, change and demand for merchandise decline. Economic conditions are for chain business to spend more on sales proceeds. The COVID-19 crisis has exposed national interdependence and the importance of global public goods. Increased solidarity can lead to increased spending. Second is small business. The COVID-19 pandemic posed numerous challenges to the small business world, affecting companies in a various sector in different ways. However, as the economy gradually recovers, businesses are reflecting on this change and determine how they move forward. The economic growth include change in material production over a relatively short time period, typically 1 year. Economic growth is defined in economic theory as an annual increase in material production expressed in value, the rate of growth of GDP or national
Summary
income. In Chapter 1. In conclusion, this chapter provides an overview and background of a general understanding of study, objectives and research questions, as well as the importance of the study. Chapter 2. Literature Review. 2.1 is Introduction. In this chapter, we will discuss the literature review, relevant research theory, and conceptual framework. The literature review consists of dependent and independent variables relate to the literature of the study and the objective of the study in Chapter 1. It will begin by describing the yield decline factor as a dependent variable. Next, for the independent variable, the sales revenue of small business during the COVID pandemic-19. This chapter will also describe the relationship between the dependent and independent variable, the conceptual framework, and a summary of the literature review. In addition, a conceptual framework is formed based on objective research and research questions. 2.2 Dependent variable DV. In the United States, the small business sector accounts for 44% of all economic activity and 2/3 of net employee growth. The COVID-19 pandemic has confronted small business and their owner with heightened and heard of issue because declined demand, supply chain interruption, and production sluggishness linked to unsafe working condition. Next, correct seems to be true not only in this widespread reaction, but also for small business owners who may take the biggest hit from this downturn. Although there is limited study examining how small business owners are exposed to the performance of their companies, unhealthy small business entrepreneurs come in many different forms. We examine the effect of small business on their owners' consumption that has been impacted by disease, infection rates, and activity using anonymized data on checking account and credit card of small business. Then, small business owner consume spending fell by the same percent or more than 40% on average. But 2 months of the outbreak, they only partition covered.
Then we go through the next slide, is dependent variables. Our part dependent variable is declining income of small business. Current seems to be true not only in this widespread recession, but also for small business owners who might take the biggest hit from this downturn. Although there is limited study examining how small business owners are exposed to the performance of their companies, unhealthy small business entrepreneurs come in many different forms. Typically, they devote a considerable percentage of their fortune to their businesses, which are the main source of their income. Of their income, 81% of small business are not business employers. In addition, we examine the effects of small businesses and their owners' consumption that have been impacted by disease infection rates and activities using anonymous data on checking accounts and credit cards of small businesses and families from JP Morgan Chase JPMC bank account records. We created a weekly panel data set on small business revenue, expenses, and profits related to its owners used from the start of program COVID-19 using the pooled data. For example, transaction level. Our business sample has high coverage for business in contrast to other data sets representing small enterprises.
According to WHO, mental health is defined as a state of well-being in which the individual realizes his or her own abilities, can cope with the normal stress of life, can work productively, profitably, and is able to make a contribution to his or her community. People worldwide were affected by the novel coronavirus disease. Until last July, a total of 638 suicide cases were reported by the Royal Nation Police, compared to 262 cases for the same period in 2020, an increase of 143% or 1.4 times more. The community played a common role in identifying the early symptoms of depression and suicidal behavior among loved ones during the COVID-19 pandemic. Due to poor interpersonal communication and mistrust, the increasing anxiety disorder during the lockdown is only going to get worse. Fear has forced all local food vendors and small businesses in the Bekalan Shepherd area to close, including hawker food stores, food trucks, and seafood vendors. Cash flow statement is a style of financial statement that gives comprehensive information about all the cash inflow a business made from ongoing operation and outside investment sources. After recovery movement control, although more people are comfortable leaving their homes, as evidenced by the peak hour traffic, increased foot traffic in malls, and little office building. According to the survey, 22% of respondents have enough cash to cover their expenses for 1 month, 27% can make it through November, and 31% can make it through December. Small business owners around Bekalan Shepherd State experience cash flow issues until today. The worst hit are those in the retail sector, followed by manufacturing and service, and there are bills to pay even though sales haven't fully recovered for some of them. The government salary subsidy program and the 6-month suspension of automatic loan repayment of SMEs have undoubtedly been helpful during the epidemic.
Okay, for the independent variable 3 of the research is raw material. The shortage of raw materials affected the country's income and small businesses. This is because there is no import and export of goods from abroad. Not only small businesses that lack basic goods are rumored to be big supermarkets. After that, relationship between mental health, cash flow, and raw material with the DV. There is a negative relationship between this independent variable and the dependent variable. When the IV goes up and DV goes down, with regard to the research study, the increase of IV1, IV2, and IV3, namely mental health, cash flow, and raw materials, has affected DV, which is the income of small traders in Bekalan Shepherd. Thus, the increase in the independent variable has affected the reduction in the income of small traders.
A hypothesis is a theory to explain a phenomenon. In this study, there are 5 hypotheses that we can put forward. This is conceptual framework for this research. Mental health, cash flow, and raw material is the independent variable, while declining income of small business is dependent variable. Finally, the conceptual framework in this research is based on the current study, research question, and research objective that involve 2 things, namely independent variable and dependent variable.
Our research methodology is a way to describe how a researcher plans to conduct their investigation. It is a logical, methodical approach to a research issue. In this chapter, we will discuss about research design, population and sampling procedure, instrument, data analysis, descriptive analysis, reliability correlation, and Pearson correlation. Lastly, we will end our discussion with summary of the research.
One of the most crucial aspects in the research process is the design of study. It is the outline and description of the entire research technique that must be followed by the researcher. It is the overview and specification of the entire research procedure that the research objective or hypothesis created for the study must follow.
3.3 Population and Sample. People who have similar characteristics are referred to as a population. A significant group of people or objects that are the focus of a scientific investigation is known as a research population. A study population is a well-defined collection of individuals or objectives that are known to have similar characteristics. In this group, a sample is a group of people, objectives, or items that are drawn from a wider population for assessment. The focus group are grouping of individuals that have the same attribute they are involved or choose. In this case, is known as the population sample.
Okay, next is for the instrument of this study. The questionnaires are divided into 3 sections, which Section A, Section B, and Section C as shown. The demographic information of the respondent is questioned in Section A, including their name, gender, and age. Questions about the independent variables are found in Section B and Section C. Respondents receive questionnaires in the form of multiple choice and Likert scale, while Likert scale questions require respondents to evaluate details on scale of 1 to 5.
Data analysis is the systematic use of statistical and logical methods to explain and show, condense and recap and evaluate data. Descriptive statistics, such as a variable mean, standard deviation, or frequency, are used to describe or summarize the features of a sample or data set. Scale 1 and 2 indicate level of strongly disagree and disagree. Level 3 indicate neutral, and scale 4 and 5 indicate level of agree to strongly agree. Reliability refers to the degree to which a measurement of a phenomenon gives a reliable and consistent result. For example, if a scale or test consistently delivers the same result when repeated measurements are done under the same condition, it is called trustworthy.
Okay, for the Pearson correlation, the degree to which change in one variable anticipate change in another in statistically measured by correlation coefficient. In a crucial stage, 2 variables values rise or fall when they are positively correlate. The most important aspect of the negatively linked variables are rising and falling value. There are another types of correlation coefficient used in research methodologies and statistics, but Pearson correlation is the most popular and commonly used. The ability to assess the degree of link between the 2 variables in one benefit of Pearson correlation. Therefore, Pearson correlation was applied in this investigation.
So we go through this part of summary. Chapter 3 discuss the study's research design that the researchers used. The size of the population sample and the sampling technique are also covered by the researchers in this section. To be ensured that the readers comprehend the study strategy, the data collecting, research tool, and data analysis are all well described.